Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing, and today I'm sharing an art journal page with you, and I just put some Winsor & Newton artists acrylic on the page that I got for 99 cents at a thrift store. It was open, and so I wondered if it would still be good with a half crinkly tube, but it was wonderful. And then I'm putting some Deco Art Crafters acrylic on the page. In my acrylics, I usually use the super inexpensive paint. I don't think the Winsor & Newton is, but for 99 cents in a thrift store, take the challenge and see if it's good. Then I took a Sharpie and put some squiggles on the page. Then I'm putting some multimedia matte by Ranger. You could use any glue or Mod Podge, anything that you have. And what I'm attaching is some tissue paper that has paint scraps on it from paint pouring. I have a paint pouring video that you can watch and see how those messes got made if you're interested. And I want to apologize for the camera angle on this video. I made it at my paint pouring station so that I could make a giant mess and leave it, and Sadie wouldn't play on the page. If you're not familiar with Sadie, she made an appearance in a recent scrapbook page, the one about I'd rather be crafting. She's very helpful in projects, so sometimes I like to do them in a place where she can't get to them. So if it's something that has dry time, strings attached, anything like that, Sadie wants to help, and that doesn't go well. And I am just messing around with the paint. I've sped this up 2 times for you because I spent an hour making this page. I don't know if it was a full sit-down hour. Sometimes I wander off to look for supplies, but it did take me a while. This is a page that, in the end, I'm super happy with. I love it, which I can't always say. Like, you just glimpsed one underneath that I definitely couldn't say that about. I had an idea for how this was going to look, a little bit dreamy, happy, and just really a lot going on, but still calming. And I think I got that effect. And here I'm just putting on some inexpensive acrylic in a blue-gray to layer that up and mix in those other things. I really wanted a lot going on, but then you'll see that I cover it up with a lot of gesso and white paint to calm it down. And I'm just experimenting, going up against those pages that I collaged on so that it looks like they sort of pop out, and then I'm spritzing some water in there to move things around to get a more dreamy look, not such a thick, dense look. And I'm sorry that I didn't get my camera angle quite right. I did a fade right then to cut out the dry time. I came in with my embossing gun and dried things. You could use a hair dryer, you could use an actual craft gun, you could just wait patiently, but I'm not able to do that usually. So when I do the fade, it's because I'm trying to show you dry time, because if you were learning, you would want to be sure you dry between those layers. Here I'm putting on white gesso with a palette knife all over, kind of making a mess, trying to soften it up. Like I said, in this page, I knew where I was headed. I don't always. Sometimes I just put stuff down. I've been working on the 31-day challenge for new products on Instagram, and some of the things I'm posting are horrifying, but it's a different sort of challenge. This one, the sentiment, living the good life, I've been carrying that piece of paper around. It was in some scrapbook paper for years. It's been on my bulletin board in my craft room, and I thought it was time to put it on a page. You'll see that most times in my, okay, this is fun. This is a hair pick. Remember these? Okay, if you have curls, if you're lucky enough to have curls, you still use one. If not, you probably have one in a drawer somewhere from a different decade in time when many of us had curls. Okay, here there was a fade, a quick fade. I dried that and then tried to use that under the rug non-skid pad. I will do that again in the future, but not dry it, because don't dry your gesso or your paint before you try and use it. So here I'm going to put some more gesso on the page and then stick that thing into it. And I really like what it did. It gave me a nice grid. I got that at a yard sale or an estate sale in a pile of weird stuff that I bought, including the roll of paper that you've seen me use quite a bit. It was a mix of craft supplies and home improvement, and I bought a pile of stuff for, I think I spent maybe a total of $4 or $6 and left with a giant pile. Here I'm putting some sheet music, just a bit of sheet music that I had left over from another page. I thought that would be fun. And again, I used the Ranger Multimedia mat to put it on, but you could use any glue, remember. Here I'm drying, I've dried, and I've come back at another time to sit down, trim the edge, change the camera angle a little. And I want you, the reason I show you my quote palette is because I want you to see where I get my supplies. Okay, that bottle is from Spices. I ran it through the dishwasher, got the label off. I like those for water, and I like to have them sitting around to put beads or buttons or whatever in. My palette is the lid to a giant cottage cheese container. Be sure you're thinking about things in your household that you could use instead of buying. I have very limited recycling at this point. Something has gone terribly wrong. So I'm really looking at plastic that comes through my house. For example, if you don't have a hair pick in your household, you could take that cottage cheese lid or any plastic thing, cut a straight strip, cut triangles, cut big teeth, any pattern that you want, and drag that through your paint or gesso. There's all sorts of things you can do. I haven't been eating a lot of cereal, and I really want some cereal boxes, so my friends are collecting those for me. Here I took some blue and I put it over that dried gesso, and then I'm matting it or patting it up with tissue paper because I want the blue to stay in the tracks of the gesso. So I didn't use a paper towel or anything super absorbent. I just wanted to take off the top layer. I don't know if it shows very well in the camera, but in the end I was pretty happy with it. I really liked the texture that I got with the hair pick, and I will use that again. If you like straight grids, be sure and do straight lines with the hair pick. I like circles and swirls and asymmetrical things. Here I'm coming in with a distress crayon. I only have a couple of these. I got them on sale. I probably wouldn't have bought them, but you could grab just a couple and try them. This page, I love what they did because I just came in with the one that was the orangey yellow creamy and then added a little water, and it gave like a dreamy translucent color that I wouldn't have really been able to get with paint. So I really liked that. And you'll see I keep coming back in with the Living the Good Life piece of paper. I've torn the edges of it. It started out with a blue flower on the far left, which is how I got the inspiration for the green, the gold, and the blue. And then, funny, I tore it off, but I still really like that I put the blue in. And I'm looking through my little bag of textiles to find fabric or something that would set that off. I liked the black and white polka dot thing, but it was a little more energy than I wanted, and it wasn't quite big enough. So now I'm just looking through embroidery floss and thread and there's another piece of that paint pouring paper, just different things that I have sitting around. I throw things in piles or baskets or shove them in a cupboard until it overflows and then organize them. And I left all this in so you could see the honest truth about, no, I didn't just reach in, pick out 3 colors of embroidery floss and then perfectly decide in a minute. It took me an embarrassingly long amount of time. If that's what you need to do or you need to walk away, do it. Or sometimes it just gets to the point where you'll notice at some point I just reach for the matte medium and start gluing things down because I'm done. And I think it's a balance of that between look around, try something you haven't used before, but then just decide, just glue it down. And you'll know when. Kind of when you're fed up, just glue it down. And here we go. Here's the multi-matte medium. I'm tired of deciding where on the page or exactly which green. Greens are hard to match. And you'll see I'm just fiddling with my embroidery floss. I left it 6 strands and nice and thick and chunky because it's a art journal page. I don't always do that on a card, something of smaller scale I might adjust. You could also, instead of fiddling with the multimedia, you could just lay this all down, then put some Elmer's glue or something over the top and glue it down. Any glue you have is great. Okay? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. You can click the Crafting and Relaxing logo at the end of this video to subscribe if you're not familiar with how to subscribe. And I hope that you're taking time for crafting and relaxing and finding some inspiration in this video. My goal is not to necessarily have you just spend all day watching them, but to find some joy in them and go out and try something on your own. Okay, there's the finished page, and we'll do a little close-up and zoom, and then we're all set. Bye-bye.